Depending on your goals and the things that you are working to accomplish in your life, you may very well come across the feeling of being an imposter at some point on this journey. And so if you can relate to this, if you feel like you are expanding into different dimensions in relationship or in your work professionally, and suddenly you're coming face to face with this self-incriminating accusation, you don't belong here, or who are you to be doing this, or do you deserve it, or is it even congruent with your identity because of who you've been in the past? And I want you to pay special attention to the tip that I'd like to give you in this video. It's one that I've personally used on myself and has helped me redefine my relationship with this inevitable accusation that comes up whenever we decide to expand as human beings. First, what is the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome is an accusation that comes up when we are moving forward in life, when we're reaching for the things that we want. And it sounds something like this. Who am I to be doing this? Am I really qualified? Do I have what it takes? Is this really congruent with who I am? This feels very unfamiliar. This doesn't feel like me. I shouldn't be here. Maybe I shouldn't be in this room with these types of people. I shouldn't be making this kind of video. I shouldn't be in this kind of relationship because this relationship is healthy and it's something that I haven't had in the past and it just feels very unfamiliar to me. Or this position at work, I'm underqualified for it. I don't know what I'm doing. So it can come up in a number of different ways, and it can be really debilitating and paralyzing because oftentimes with imposter syndrome there is a level of shame that comes around it, where the minute we start to experience that voice, we start to experience this accusation, we want to hide it, we want to run from it, we don't want to look at it, because if it were to be true, it feels like any progress that we made, anything that we're trying to create is just going to fall apart at that point because we realize that we're a fraud, it's all fake. Here's where the redefinition comes in that I think is so useful. What I tell my clients when I'm working with them and they are reaching for things that are outside of their current experience, when they are authoring a new future, something that is different than what has come before, when they're breaking out of the pattern that they've been in, when they're reaching new highs and they're beginning to create a new sense of self to interact with the world from, a new expanded sense of self, is that this idea of imposter syndrome and the accusation of being imposter is a natural and necessary transitionary step. It is a necessary goblin or ghoul that will come visit you on the path to greater self-awareness and the creation of greater results in your life. And the reason being is because whenever you are expanding, whenever you're becoming and calling in something different in your life, whether that is, again, in a professional sense or in a relational sense, personal development, there's going to be a period where you are going to feel inauthentic. You look backwards and you look at where you're at and you say, God, this is so different than what I've been doing. This is such a different embodiment of self than who I have been. I feel like a fraud. I shouldn't be here. And if we're looking only backwards, then that is where the experience comes from, because who we have been is not congruent with where we are suddenly. So when we can pause for a moment and say, wait a second though, let's not let my past define who I am. Let's actually realize that I have a choice in the moment to reach for something new, to create a new pattern, to create a new relationship, to create a new type of work, to start a new business, to move into a different type of position. When we look and we allow our desires and the vision of the future to guide us rather than who we've been in the past, we can then have more capability and flexibility to discreate this imposter syndrome, because we're no longer using the past as a reference point about who we should be right now in the present moment. So, two things. One, begin to look forward into the future as a reference point of who you want to be. Let the future guide who you show up as in the present moment now, not the past. And then two, realize that imposter syndrome is naturally going to occur at times in your life. And it is a sign that you're expanding and growing, not a sign that you've taken a wrong turn. It's a sign that you are expanding beyond what is familiar, a sign that you are expanding into a new sense of self. And when we can begin to develop a relationship with this imposter, with this gremlin that comes up in our mind, and see that it's actually a sign that we are getting closer to our goals and that we are actually on the right track in terms of progress and growth, we can actually embrace it. And rather than doubling down on shame and feeling like we don't belong, We can say, no, this is exactly where I should be. This imposter syndrome, I've been waiting for this voice to come online. I've been waiting for this goblin to visit me because it's actually a sign that I'm moving in the right direction. And just that maneuver alone can change everything. It can allow us to transcend this imposter syndrome. It can allow us to move beyond it, greet it with welcoming open arms, seeing it as a signpost that we're going in the right direction, and then to continue with our progress, with the expansion of our identity in a more frictionless way where we're avoiding the guilt, the self-doubt, the shame that comes with trying to reject this voice and making it mean something that it doesn't. My name's Clayton Olson, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment below if you've got a question or a comment or a different point of view. And if you'd like to enter into a one-on-one transformative dialogue with me, there's a link where you can fill out a contact form below in the description. And I'd love to talk with you, and I'd love to hear what you love to create and what you're up to. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.